I'm going to give you a hard truth. If you do not actually, like many of us, I didn't. And I had this pattern of 5 relationships exactly the same in a row for a period of 3.5 years until the last one knocked me on my ass so fucking hard that I was like, fuck me, I got to change something about this. And that's when I started doing my reparenting myself. But if you don't go back to that time frame, the engine is going to keep determining what your car feels like. And so even if it's not this on and off for 3 years, it might be another one. But you deserve much better than these. So you need to go back deep into your childhood. You need to go back to those points. And it's actually not even, it's uncomfortable, but it's not that hard. We just need to be guided and supported along the way to do it. And we can tap into that space and give that little girl that feeling of being loved, of being protected. So this is for everybody who's listening. I want you all to write out a little description of your little inner child self, the little girl self or the little boy self that you were. Just write out, not in this current moment, but I want you to write out a little description of that. But I want you to close your eyes and really feel this little child self. Not just draw them and picture them, maybe even get a picture of them from somewhere, but I want you to really feel this little child self. What was their favorite moment? Or like, what were their favorite moments? Did they love playing in the water? Did they love their dolls? Did they love playing with doggies? Did they love it when like daddy picked them or like mommy cuddled them? Like, what were their favorite moments? Just remember their smile, their expression, their feeling, their connection. Create this identity of them in your head. And then in this moment, we already know that this little child missed a very key thing, which was, in your case, daddy showing up for you. In my case, it was mommy showing up for me. It was my mom not really like nurturing me, but instead being a provider rather than a caretaker. And so what we want to do in this moment, when we're closed eyes, we've pictured this beautiful inner child. We want to show up for them as the parent that was missing. We want to show up for them as the parent that they didn't get, and they didn't have, but they deserved. And so we need to go and pick up that little child and soothe them. You need to soothe that little girl with the energy of the masculine, of the father, and say, and you're so special, and you're worthy of me showing up for you, and I promise you I will never leave. That you need to receive the opposite of what happened when it was your childhood, that your dad was so inconsistent and then he left. Instead, you need to visualize feeling and deserving the masculine, like your father or even you in that moment, just showing up for yourself continuously, consistently. What this does is, this sends little messages to your subconscious mind. All of this belief of ourselves is actually stored in the subconscious mind, which is why you can be the world's greatest psychologist, and you can also be the world's most traumatized person with the biggest conditions and like programming. No, it's true. My mom was a psychologist, and yet my mom's like inner child work was pretty piss poor when she was young. And so, you know, as we've worked, as we've gone along, we've been able to go on that work back and forth. But the point is that intellectualizing it doesn't do anything. Yeah. You have to go deep into the subconscious, which is where all the beliefs were programmed. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. What I gave you is just the energetic feeling. Then we have to create a plan, a series of commitments towards our inner child so that we can start showing up for them. You know what that looks like in the present moment? That looks like you feeling so full of your own love that when 3-year on and off Mr. Whoever texts you, you're like, hey, I'm really sorry. I don't think I can show up for that right now. I'm in the middle of doing something else. Then one day he shows up for you with love and affection. And then one day when he withdraws, you're like, hey, I really appreciate, you know, how you showed up in this time, but I'm in such a good space right now that I really think I need someone to show up for me consistently. And I've been doing that myself. I've been showing up for myself consistently. I've been reparenting myself consistently. So I'm really grateful for the time we spent together. I will forever remember it, but I can't take it forward with me anymore, because where I'm going, I deserve something else and something better. But that has to come through the first part, which is really reparenting ourselves, giving ourselves that love, that connection, that healing, soothing ourselves, and then creating a whole plan of what we do with it in the present moment. And that's ultimately what changes, what we attract into our lives. Why? Because we're finally rewiring our subconscious mind. What we feel in the subconscious mind, what we believe of ourselves, is actually what we manifest for the future. So it's funny because our past is actually reconnected to our future, and the only way to change that is by breaking it in the present moment. And in the present moment, we visualize, we have to connect, we have to go back, we have to reparent, we have to heal ourselves. All the ugly shit we don't want. So much easier to like send a long like message to someone saying like, what the fuck, I'm so hurt, than it is to like, actually dive in to do this ugly work, right? Of showing up for ourselves, because that's the one thing no one really showed us how to do.
No. And I
So when we
actually
can
like,
actually do that. Mhm.
yeah, I actually have been like, I wrote a list today of like all the things that I like to do as a kid. Like I like to dance. I love
Beautiful.
to like listen to
Yeah.
music and all these things. And
Good.
those are things that, like I have to do
Yeah.
that work. It seems really, really challenging, but maybe it's not, like you said.
It just
Um,
takes it just takes
yeah.
discipline and commitment to do that. For it's funny, but for a secure person, sending messages and going back and forth to like in a relationship, which is like, the back and forth is probably more challenging for them. They're like, I'd love to be in this back and forth relationship, but it just seems so challenging for me. I just don't know how to do it. Because for them, creating that love, safety, and security, they've done it so much that it's become the norm. For us, it's the opposite. The imbalance, the dysfunction, and living in the inconsistency we've done it so much, that's become the norm. So whatever we don't do consistently will be challenging. So we have to change what we do consistently. Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.